Good morning, everybody. Timothy Frey is my very special guest today, Wednesday, April 20th, 2022. That's right. It's 420 today.
Happy National Cannabis Day.
I can't wait to learn about this stuff. So, obviously, with 420 being today, what better guest to have than the CEO of Ignite Dispensary, Timothy Frey. And Timothy is also, and this is the last I heard, you probably have a growing list of titles, but this is the most recently is what I have is, outside of just being the CEO of Ignite Dispensary, you are an investment advisor at Frey Financial, a hemp consultant, commercial property manager, as well as a farm manager. Hope that's not like Facebook or something. Wasn't that a thing? Okay, it wasn't that.
No.
And even more recently, Timothy has added the title of author to his ever-growing list of titles after writing a book for children called The Day of the Flying Squirrel. But today we're talking with Timothy in his role in capacity as CEO of Ignite Dispensary to talk all things cannabis. If you are as ignorant as I am on this topic, stick around. We might both learn something. Timothy, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Ben.
This is like our third year in a row we've tried to do this on 420. And I think last year it didn't work. We had a technical issue. So if I don't know anything about cannabis, I blame you for not being on the show for the last 2 years.
That's fine. We'll do some good education today then.
I hope so, because again, I'm very ignorant on this topic. So first, great to see you. The last time I actually saw you, I think, was last summer at the Spooner Health Golf Tournament. I think the last time I saw you. We've talked. We've known each other for 30 years. We went to school together at Shell Lake. High school there. I still have fond memories of going over to your house, and you and Steve Walzak and I would play NBA Jam. I love that.
Oh, yeah. The good old days.
It is. So 420. Today's 420. Pothead Day or something, right? Or whatever it's called. I don't know anything about it. So what is 420 anyway?
Well, so, in our world, I don't like the stigma of potheads because in our world, cannabis is medicine, first off. It's a natural plant. But 420 kind of came about with high school students back in 1971 or 70 or something like that, kind of getting together and just, saying that don't smoke before that time and, kind of just took that day and made it our holiday, basically.
So 420 is a day to celebrate. Oh, actually, I have something I printed this morning. Okay. I haven't even read it yet because I wanted to learn. Do you know where 420 came from?
There's a lot of different speculations, things like that. So, that's one of them that I've heard.
Well, history of 420, this is from National Today. You can be forgiven for thinking 420 has more origin stories than a Marvel universe. One rumor is that 420 is the code police officers use to signal to each other that marijuana smoking is taking place. Another theory tries to attribute the date to a Bob Dylan song. The most concrete evidence of the holiday's origins, however, can be traced back to a high school in Marin County, California. A group of students known as the Waldos, because they like to hang out by the wall, well, it's original, came into possession of a map that they thought would take them to a field full of marijuana. Map in hand, they met at 4:20 p.m. and eagerly tried to locate the crop. While they left empty-handed that day, 420 became their thing, and the term began to spread among their friends. Fast forward half a century, the holiday has taken a more purpose-driven tone, providing a platform for scientists, medical professionals, politicians, and cannabis consumers to discuss the medicinal benefits of the plant. While the Controlled Substances Act categorization of marijuana means it cannot be sold under federal law, the use of marijuana for medicinal purposes is legal in 36 states, with an increasing number also legalizing recreational use too. So that's all right. I already feel like I'm a little bit more educated just reading that.
Yep.
So you are at Ignite Dispensary. So how does this all play in together? What is Ignite Dispensary? For the people who don't know, you have locations, it seems like everywhere. Spooner, I know of. Hayward, I think still Superior.
Yep.
And you're opening new ones. But for people who just don't know what Ignite Dispensary is, how about we just start there? Because that's what's going to kind of show us that you're very knowledgeable in this topic.
Okay. So, with the Ignite Dispensary, we kind of started out, we wanted to kind of plant our flag, help people out. After the 2018 Farm Bill passed, which legalized hemp production in the United States with a zero point 0.3 total concentration of Delta 9 THC, which Delta 9 THC is the psychoactive chemical that is on the DEA's banned substance list.
Okay.
There are hundreds of different cannabinoids, and we're just starting to learn all the different benefits and things like that with all these different substances. It's a plant. We are a seed to store company, so I help farmers procure seed. We have a USDA organic extraction facility up in Fargo, North Dakota, up in the Red River Valley area. And then in Minneapolis, we have an ISO 6 clean room, USDA organic certified laboratory with a biochemist on staff. And then we distribute those out to all of our stores. So
how many stores?
Obviously, I have partners in all this.
Right.
Do it all myself.
So Ignite Dispensary, your first store, was that in Spooner?
That was in Spooner, correct.
And when was that about?
2015, 2016.
Okay, so 2015. Okay. So that's about actually when DrydenWire started. October of 2015 was the fall. So it was around that same time, right? How many stores do you have now?
7. We just opened our 7th location in New Richmond, Wisconsin, which is the 3rd largest growing city in Wisconsin, which I just learned.
Really?
With the Stillwater Bridge and everything, yep.
Oh, sure. So there's 4.
We have stores in Spooner, Hayward, Superior, Milwaukee, Manitowoc, New Richmond, and then out in Bismarck, North Dakota, which is where I'm at now.
You're in North Dakota?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you still jumped out.
Snow out here.
Is there really?
Yeah. Yeah, they got 20 inches last week. So we have our huge 420 block party celebration, free music, free food, free samples. And free samples are anywhere at any of our stores. But it's going to be fun in the snow.
Wait, so that's going on. So the Spooner,
Today.
Hayward, and maybe Superior, but probably less likely. So the people that are watching right now, most people are going to be in our Northwest Wisconsin area. So that'd be Spooner and Hayward and maybe Superior. They can go in today to one of those locations and get what?
Stop into our store. You get free samples, free pre-rolls, free gummies, free salves, to rub on your skin for different ailments. And also you get 20% off any Ignite branded products.
Yep. So I don't know what any of those things are. What'd you say?
Okay.
Gummies? What's a gummy?
So anything that I talk about, so there's different things, number one, you have the hemp smokable flower. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So we are a dispensary and we dispense hemp products and other cannabinoids, to the public. We had our DATC permit, for growing and processing of hemp in Wisconsin until they gave up that jurisdiction to the USDA. We have our Wisconsin excise tax permit, so we're enforced by the ATF. Very good relationship with our ATF enforcement officers. Try to work with all my local law enforcement so they understand what's going on and educate them. But to get back to it, so smokable flower is going to just be, what everybody thinks it looks like. Okay. Sorry, camera's backwards. Okay. That's the smokable flower. So that's the number one way to get hemp or cannabis into your system. Especially people that want the medicinal properties of the cannabis plant without the psychoactive effect, hemp is where it's at because it's such an anti-inflammatory, CBD is a natural plant-based anti-inflammatory. Okay. So let's say you put it on your skin, once it absorbs into your skin, you feel your muscles kind of relax.
Oh.
So, we also have then tinctures, which you take sublingually underneath your tongue, hold it for 60 seconds, and then swallow. Now, CBD can take anywhere from 30 to 60 days to fully build up in your system. So anybody that's listening that tried CBD before, because we're just learning about this stuff, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Might not have given it the good college try. Lots of people that I work with have to be on a double dose for the first 2 months, and then they can drop their levels down. So just think about like when you drink, right? It might take you a 12-pack to get drunk, but then you can maintain it and just drink a beer an hour. That's kind of the same thing with CBD. Here's my example. My father-in-law has anaplasmosis. It's a tick-borne disease. I had to have him on a massive dose for about 3 months, and then all of a sudden it was like brain fog went away. He was less achy, things like that, and now he's been able to lower his dosage down. Not saying that it's going to take it away, but it's definitely helpful.
Sure. And
Yep.
So
Go ahead.
again, being very ignorant on this, which I'm
No,
so
you're fine.
glad that you're on here. So this can sound really dumb. So nobody can just they don't go to Ignite Dispensary and just walk in because it's Wisconsin. It's not legal. They don't buy pot,
So what
right?
you're so what you're talking about is so when people talk about marijuana, so
Yeah.
let me explain this. There's the cannabis plant, and
Hmm.
then there's the two different varieties.
Okay.
One is marijuana, which is high in delta 9 THC, which is the psychoactive chemical,
Okay.
but it's low in CBD. Hemp, on the other hand, is high in CBD, low in THC. So again, people that want the medicinal properties of the cannabis plant without getting high,
Okay.
hemp is better for you anyways.
Okay.
They are cross genetic.
Sure.
They're making
They share a lot of the same properties.
completely honest with you. When marijuana does become legal in this state, I'm more excited for what's called 1-to-1 rather than the actual real stuff, because people that have discomfort in their body and things like that, having half CBD and half THC together is an amazing product. Now, with that being said, I actually already have that because with this law, there's so many different cannabinoids, such as, let's use the example of Delta 8. Delta 8 is really good for discomfort and restfulness, okay? Because I'm not allowed to use medical terms, okay?
Wait, why not?
To FDA, I'll get sued or anything. I'm not allowed to, I can't say pain. I have to say discomfort, and that's the only one I'll say. So,
Oh,
okay,
that's weird.
I can't use anything like that.
Okay.
So Delta 8, as an example, is a little bit less psychoactive than Delta 9. But what we do is we take a hemp flower, and then we coat it with Delta 8 distillate. So you actually can now get a true 1-to-1 product in an illegal state. There's also so many different other cannabinoids. I mean, we can go down the list. There's THCO, there's HHC, Delta 9, Delta 8, Delta 10, Delta 6, THCV, CBN, CBG, CBD, etc.
I think you're making
So,
up some of those, but okay, because
no.
I wouldn't know.
And
But
every single one of those actually is very good. Excuse me. Each one of those works differently. Like CBN is really good for like restfulness, to help you with sleep patterns and stuff like that.
what?
I actually this is my best story that I've just had recently, is that a nun came into one of our stores. I'm not going to say which store. She's like, please don't tell the mother or whatever. And she
Oh, right.
came in to buy a Delta 8 gummy to help her with her discomfort. And she's just like, God put this plant on the earth for a reason.
So again, so the gum you just uh,
Okay,
eat
so
it, right?
smokable flower, so you
Yeah.
can smoke it, which is really good for, especially veterans that have past trauma and any phantom issues. Okay. Which vets always get 10% off. Thank you very much for your service. Law enforcement, vets, military, all get discounts every day at my store.
That's
So
awesome.
you have smokable flower. You
Hmm.
have the tincture that you take sublingually, which
Yep.
that's the best way to build CBD up in your system. It's going to be the quickest because it
Hmm.
absorbs right into your bloodstream.
Hmm.
Okay. Then there's going to be gummies. And if anybody is taking gummies, make sure that they're sucking on them and not just eating them, because otherwise CBD and all the cannabinoids have to process through your organs. Okay.
Hmm.
And then it's going to be topically. So topically,
Okay, got it.
the skin's the largest organ in your body. It can take a little bit to penetrate the skin, but we have UFC fighters that use CBD, and like all of a sudden they can go up to here from here. It's I mean, hemp is an amazing, amazing plant. There's so many applications, let alone just discomfort and the CBD aspect of it. You're talking all kinds of different stuff
Yeah, and
that
that's
is.
perfect because I wrote down discomfort because we can't say pain, but the
Yep.
discomfort, and we've been talking about that. So when people come in to Ignite to purchase any of these things, one of the four things that you had just named, is it usually for discomfort? And if whether it is or isn't, what are other when other people come in to purchase this stuff, what do they use that for? So outside of discomfort, what are the other benefits?
So, basically, yeah. I mean, hemp and CBD has been known to obviously help with seizures, number one. But because that's the only CBD FDA approved drug out there, which is called Epilex.
Mhm.
But then again, Big Pharma owns and controls that when it's a plant. Okay.
Sure.
CBD can help with your sleep patterns. It can help with discomfort, nervousness. It can help stabilize your mood. It can help with addiction issues, tick-borne diseases, and even weight loss. We've got a new product, and that's pretty amazing. One of my employees has been on it for 3 weeks and has already lost 10 pounds, which is crazy.
What is that? First of all, like is most of those things you just named, I could those are I don't know symptoms or things that I probably should address, including weight loss. So what is that one?
I'm just kind of learning about it. It's a new product that we got in. It's a
Okay.
THCV nitro pill. And in the case studies, 100% of the case study lost some sort of weight. The average
What?
person over a 2 month period lost 10 to 20 pounds and had it helped with their sleep patterns and lost a
What?
couple inches. hmm I mean, most of the time it's used for, nervousness and discomfort. Those
Okay.
are the big ones. And then, like I said, past trauma, with vets and
Sure.
phantom
Sure.
issues,
Sure.
if you catch the drift. We had a veteran and he was a very, very old timer, very devil's lettuce, very anti cannabis, and he was on Oxy and, hydrocodone and everything else. And then, he was actually able to, and he was turning into a curmudgeon. So his daughter actually talked him into trying it. And now he eats a half a gummy in the morning for his discomfort and another gummy at night for his discomfort and to help with his sleep patterns.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So out of
Most
curiosity,
though, like in the past trauma, smoking the hemp flower or vaping it
yeah.
is because that gives you that instant gratification. Same with addiction. It helps retrain those brain neurons.
Yeah.
The best way I can describe it, like smoking hemp, is it mellows you out. It's
Sure.
just this calm, good feeling.
Hmm.
Like okay, and during the pandemic, like I always have some sort of nervousness, but I've never had debilitating nervousness. I was like, I woke up one day, I'm like, my heart's racing, I can't breathe. I'm like, I don't know if I can go to work today. Sure enough, I took a couple of hits of some hemp flower, laid on the couch, and breathed deeply for about 5 minutes, and I was good to go.
Mm. Out of curiosity, does this so the stuff that you have there, the CBD, because it's not the THC part, or it has very little this stuff. Oh, the CBD stuff, right? How does that work when it comes to like workplaces and drug testing? Does it stay in your system, as it were? Is this something that you could? Well, I mean, what you're doing is
So
obviously legal, so this can't be something that's enforceable from a law enforcement standpoint. But how about work? Does it stay in your system?
it does, unfortunately. Most
Oh,
people that are gonna try it, but let me dive a little deeper into this,
okay.
okay? Because we have solutions for it.
Mhm.
So any type of THC, it depends on the drug test, obviously, whether what they're testing
Sure.
for. So, but any type of person that has drug tests or is under 18, which we are an 18 plus establishment. That's number one. We card everybody. No one is buying anything at my store if they're underage. But parents have used it on their children. But what we do is when we extract hemp out of the plant, okay, it turns into this. We suck the oil out of it, and it's this crude oil,
Okay.
and then it kind of gets like distilled down. So, like, think of gasoline. Crude oil comes out of the ground, all right, and then it goes to a refinery to get refined down.
Mhm.
So we take the crude oil, refine it down, and that's going to be your full spectrum tincture distillate. Okay, that has all the different cannabinoids, up to 113 different cannabinoids. So people with chronic pain, you always want to be on a full spectrum tincture. Now, anybody that's drug tested or under 18, what we can do is actually take it through another process and actually isolate out the CBD only, and it turns it to a 99% pure product. With no THC in it. So,
Okay.
the last thing we want is, child protection services finding stuff in a kid or
Right.
anybody with drug tests, things like that.
Yeah.
And the isolate based versions really help a lot with the nervousness and for mood stabilization. So I take an isolate in the morning. And then at night, I take a tincture where we've added certain plant terpenes in there for targeted effects, like linalool, which is the plant terpene of lavender. Lavender helps you sleep. So I
Mm.
take that at night, and that helps me sleep better. I have not had to take an Ambien since. And then if I've been working out or lumberjacking, cutting wood, and I'm sore, then I'll take a full spectrum tincture at night because that
Sure.
helps with my overall discomfort in my body.
Sure. Here's something from Amanda. My daughter uses CBD for her epilepsy. 1 drop on her navel each morning. So there's another one.
Yeah. I mean, we even some of our salves, women use it for PMS. There's lots of women that use it for menopause type things. Usually, inhaling that is better for that. I mean, it's just crazy the amount of ailments, and we're just learning about this plant because it just became legal after prohibition. So we're just finally studying it all. And there's so many different cannabinoids that can help with certain different things.
So Larry here has a very common, or he has an opinion that is shared by many people, echoed by many. That he says, "I see it as a gateway to our children to start using drugs." This is marijuana or cannabis or THC or just under this whole umbrella. I've heard that before. You have too. What do you tell people when that conversation comes up?
Number one, it's a plant, and it was put on this earth for medicinal purposes. And number two, there's no difference. I mean, I started with alcohol in high school. Why is nobody talking about that being a gateway drug to other things? When, drunk driving, things like that, fighting, things like that. Smoking cannabis is a relaxation type thing. It's not an enhancement thing. That's basically what I can say. Alcohol, is just as bad, if not worse. I mean, I've actually quit drinking and only use cannabis now for my recreational purposes, and I'm a better man for it.
The maps. So I'm going to get in a little politics thing here.
Yeah.
Maps were redrawn. It looks like Evers' maps were kind of thrown up the Supreme Court. So it looks like this is going to be maybe like a decade or so. That's what I'm reading, whether that's accurate or not. But it looks like about a decade where it'll be a kind of a GOP-controlled Senate and Assembly, or likely to be. How does that bear for your business?
I mean, once these legislatures start seeing, they should be seeing all this tax revenue that we are losing to our neighboring states of Michigan and Illinois. I mean, Illinois raised more tax revenue off of cannabis sales than they did alcohol last year, and what that does is it scares the crap out of the Tavern League. No offense to the Tavern League. They're a great organization. They provide rides home and things like that, but they lobby our politicians so hard to keep it illegal in our states.
What?
And that is, yes. Between big pharmaceuticals and the Tavern League, I don't know when it's going to go legal in this state. But honestly, Ben, I don't even care because that's just Delta 9.
Sure.
That's what gets you high. So be it. If an adult person wants to use that, I'm a libertarian by heart. As long as the freedom to do what you want, as long as it's not bad. So, in regards to that, I'm more after all these other cannabinoids to help with all these different
all ailments. The other things.
Cannabis is medicine if you use it properly. And if you want to use it properly, come talk to my staff. I pride myself on educating my staff and making sure they know what they're talking about, can explain dosages and strengths and everything else to our customers. So I don't even care if it goes legal right now because I've got enough other products to help people with other ailments. I don't need to just get people high. Sure. I want to provide cannabis as medicinal purposes to these people.
So when you do have those conversations, and I want to ask kind of like those misconceptions, because everything that we've been talking about is the cannabis and the CBD part of it, and now we just kind of brought up the other part of it, the Delta 9, I think is what you referred to it as. Right. But I'm sure there's, like I'm even now starting to understand the differences here. But when people talk about legalizing medicinal use of marijuana or for medicinal purposes, so that's still talking about the Delta 9, right?
Correct. And that's something that a lot of people, when you have the Delta 9, you're going to get all those other cannabinoids if you're going to smoke it or use a full spectrum tincture. Mm-hmm. However, there's so many other cannabinoids out there that help better with different ailments. Like Delta 8, as an example, it's less psychoactive and it helps more with, sleep patterns and restfulness and discomfort.
Got it.
Now, I'm not a big proponent of massive regulation, but there needs to be some sort of regulation in this industry because there's a lot of bad players out there. a gas station should not be able to sell this stuff. You know what I mean? That's where kids get this stuff. They're not getting it from a store like mine that, has electronic ID verification and stuff like that. They're getting it from these other things. And that's what's going to happen. They're going to try to ban these other cannabinoids, which are more helpful than the Delta 9. So Delta 9 is more for fun. It's more for fun, but there's the other properties and cannabinoids that help with the medicinal aspect. Now, let me back up 1 second. Mm-hmm. Delta 9 is really good for cancer people because Delta 9 really helps with your appetite and it helps, relax as well. But like I said, for restfulness and discomfort, Delta 8 is where it's at. CBN helps really good with restfulness. CBD helps really good with, the nervousness. Sorry, I got to check my cheat sheet for the words I can and cannot say.
That's right. Yeah.
I just hope that they come up with some sort of middle of the road, common sense regulation. Make me get a permit to do this. I carry as many permits as I possibly can to make sure that I'm above the board. So when legalization does happen, I can actually, my flag's planted, I can be first in line kind of thing.
Sure.
But there needs to be regulation. I just hope that they don't go over and above and try to start banning like I'm in North Dakota right now, and they've banned Delta 8 just because it's taken away from their medical marijuana program for tax revenue.
So as of right now, so over the next
certain ailments, it's stupid.
Sure. So over the next decade, medicinal or recreational legislation never gets passed in terms of making it legal in Wisconsin. We're just going to assume that for a minute.
Sure.
Does that doesn't seem to hurt you though, right? Or am I not really seeing this right? Because it sounds like it's actually that's like this other thing. I mean, if that happens, fine, then we adjust. But it's almost kind of irrelevant for you right now, right?
Pretty much, especially with our chemists and scientists have figured out all these other different properties for all these other cannabinoids that are on there. Now, just like anything else, what's going to happen is, number one, is either the state will try to ban some of this other stuff because of the political aspect of it, or in general, like there's a law that a senator in Maine is putting out right now to try to help the farmer and raise, instead of 0.3 Delta 9 THC, that she wants to raise it to 1% THC. But the problem is, and what all these lawmakers do, which drives me crazy, is they don't change the law. So because they have to vote on it. What they do is they change the definition. And that drives me crazy. Because in our world now, in the beginning, it's written in the 2018 Farm Bill, 0.3 Delta 9 THC on a dry weight basis. Well, the lawmakers figured out, people are getting a little bit of wooziness with this or whatever. So now they changed the definition of THC to a total THC calculation, which is THCA times 0.877 plus Delta 9 to equal a total THC, blah, 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 blah. So, long story short, I just want to explain, like, there's so many things out there, and navigating the gray world that I live in is challenging.
Yeah. I have several more questions I want to get to that I just quickly wrote down. But first, I want to just go back to what you said at the very beginning. For people who are watching it right now, they can go to any of your locations in Wisconsin. We have one in North Dakota, but I don't think any of our listeners are from North Dakota. So Spooner location, Hayward, Superior, New Richmond, and I don't think anyone's down in the Milwaukee area, but you have some down that area. They go today because it's 420. They go to your stores today, and why should they go today? So if they're listening and they're interested in this stuff, they should go to your store and do what?
So, I'm all about helping people. That is the reason I got into this industry. It's a new booming industry, and I want to help people. Yes, I'm going to make money off of it, but that's business. That's
capitalism, right?
You know what I mean? But I really enjoy helping people. Like I said, helping all the veterans and things like that, and like the nun. But you can go to any of my stores today, get a free gummy sample to try, a free salve to rub on your skin for discomfort. A free pre-roll for anybody with past trauma or addiction issues. And then if they want to buy some stuff, they get 20% off anything in the any Ignite branded product in the store.
Okay. You mentioned earlier about a relationship with ATF, right? Yes. So ATF, explain, what is their role in this?
So ATF is alcohol, tobacco, and
Yep.
firearms. They are the excuse me. They are the government agency that watches over all taxes, basically. So I'm not, unfortunately, I have to sell things that I have more obligations against, such as tobacco, but I have to sell those in my store because I have to be able to accommodate and bring everybody in to stay afloat.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Um, you know, sorry. So they look over everything and watch all my books. I run a clean shop. I have clean books. I pay all my taxes. So when marijuana is legal, it will be enforced by the ATF because they're going to want their tax revenue
Sure.
from sales of the cannabis plant. But I mean, let alone I've contributed over $100,000 to the Washburn County, or to the state in just my
Sure.
schooner location alone in tax revenue.
Real quick, Karen has a question. Where are you located in Hayward?
Off of County Road B on your way to the casino, just past like the Mexican restaurant and the log rolling championships.
Okay. And I don't know if you can answer this because I don't know what you can and can't do, but Mac has a question. My shoulder hurts constantly. I can't lift above the shoulder bone. Will this help?
The salve will definitely help. So when you put a salve on your skin, like I said, the skin is the largest organism in your body, so it takes a very high concentration of CBD to penetrate that skin.
Mm-hmm.
So especially other companies, will put low doses in there, and you're probably getting more medicinal properties from the essential oils than you are from the CBD. So once you put it on your skin, you'll feel a little bit of instant relief, but you will really want to pay attention to about a half hour later, because once it absorbs and penetrates the skin, you feel your muscles relax, because CBD is anti-inflammatory. That's what it does. It's anti-cancerous. It's you
Sure.
know, anti-inflammation. Any inflammation that you have in your body from discomfort. Like I said, I can't tell you this on a live broadcast, but stop into my store. If you
Right.
have an ailment, stop into my store
Sure.
and talk to one of my employees directly and tell them what your issues are, and they will figure out the best product for you and
And get you
explain
set
it to
up.
you and tell you how to use it, and just make sure everybody out there give it the good college try.
Right.
I got this old timer, all that stuff, snake oil, it doesn't work. Well, number one, where'd you get it from? The gas station. Well, that comes from China. That stuff comes from China. And when hemp can absorb 4 times the carbon dioxide of trees, just think all that pollution that it's bringing in, and then you're putting it into your body.
Oh,
Now, that's why I'm all about the regulation, to get that crap off of the market. Okay. Um, Sorry, I kind of went off on a
no,
tangent.
that's perfectly fine.
How long did you try it? Oh, I tried it a couple days. It didn't do nothing for me.
Yeah.
That's not how CBD works. You need to build it up in your system. And like I said earlier in the program, you might need to be on a double dosage. Think about this. You go to the doctor. Hey, doc, this med's not working for me. What's he do? Jacks your dosage up, right? Same
Usually.
same deal. You got to get it built up into your system and stuff.
That's a good one, Adam. I like that.
Now, a lot of people are just like, what is CBD? Where did it come from?
Yeah.
Why do we need this? How, where did this come from? So back in the day, hemp was used for fuel oil in the first Model T car. It was used for making rope, so think of like smoking rope. That's where that term came from.
Yeah.
Okay. It was used in all different types of things. So it actually was a very big issue for the lumber industry, for the pharmaceutical industry, for the fossil fuel industry, because you can use hemp for all that stuff. I mean, hemp can and will save the world if people get behind it. You can use hemp. 1 acre of hemp equals 4 acres of trees to produce paper. So if we do that, and we make hemp toilet paper, there will be no more toilet paper shortages. You can make hempcrete, which is like building blocks, like concrete blocks. You can make insulation from it, which is way better for the environment, way less plastics and everything else in the insulation. There's new wood plank flooring that's made from hemp, and textiles, clothing. I mean, everybody's
Yep.
seen clothing
That's the only one
too.
I know.
Yep.
I didn't know about the other ones.
So all those different things, and that's where the 2018 Farm Bill, really was trying to bring into play. But there's so many medicinal properties of this plant that we can utilize as
Sure.
well. I mean, it's a miracle plant, and anybody that thinks it's devil's lettuce or gonna get kids hooked on this or that, your kids. Facebook is more addicting than marijuana. Sorry to say it,
No,
but it
you're
is.
100% right. And social media, etc. So you have a location Spooner and Hayward. I just want to focus on those real quick.
Yeah.
Small towns, small communities, rural area.
Yep.
I'm sure there are people that look and they see the location, they drive by and Ignite Dispensary, and they just think, ugh, we got to get that stuff out of our town. It's a small. I mean, if you put these things in the Twin Cities, nobody would care. But I'm sure you've had
Oh, yeah.
or heard some rumblings, or maybe even told to you about, oh, we don't need that stuff here. How does that work? What do you hear? I'm sure you have. We don't
I
want you
mean,
here.
I've lost friends on Facebook just because of things that I post about cannabis being medicine. And you know what? To anybody that says that to me, then you better not go to the grocery store and buy alcohol or go to your local bar, because it's the exact, it's the same type of thing. It's just different. The only reason that there's a stigma about it is because of the prohibition back in the 20s and 30s from this plant. And it threatens a lot of industries out there. So there's bad press about it. There's this and that about it. But you look at statistic wise, no one's gonna no one's going to go get into a fight if if they're on cannabis. They might if they're on alcohol, but there's a lot of different things. All I can tell you is that cannabis is medicine. I have all my licenses that I possibly can. I pride
Yeah.
myself on
You
quality and
do.
education.
I've known you for a lot of years, and everything's on the up and up, and you do it. You remind me of my brother. It's not just doing the basic. And I'm sorry. How late are you open today? Or your
Uh,
locations?
7 o'clock in Spooner and Hayward.
Okay. You remind me of my brother in the sense that it's not just doing the basics or what I have to. It's always I want to be proactive and I want to make sure everything is legit. I've always respected that about you. No kidding. You have a lot of businesses because
And every single store that I open up, I go and speak with the local law enforcement and
yeah,
make sure they understand what I do. If they have any issues with what I do, I try to help them out. I donate to the canine funds of every law enforcement agency, because they what they need to focus on is getting these hard drugs like meth and opioids off of our streets.
yeah, and the fentanyl
They
stuff.
should not be coming down on a plant that God put on this earth to help people.
Yeah, I think we answered this one already, right? Is the purity guaranteed so you'll pass employer drug test?
If you use an isolate based product, yes.
There you
As long as it's not one of those 7-panel felony drug tests, that you shouldn't be on any
go.
cannabis.
Don't do it, dude.
No.
All right, I have learned so much, and I feel like I still have a lot more to learn. So maybe we don't wait until next year, 420. Maybe we should have you back on again, like part 2. But so I'm sure you have some things that we didn't get a chance to discuss that you want to make sure we talk about before we sign off here. So what else would you like to talk about on this topic?
Just kind of talking to your politicians about, legalizing it would be number one. There's so many issues out there, like with banking that I have, with advertising that I have. The stigma, like I run a very clean store. I want my 80-year-old grandma to feel very comfortable coming into my store and purchasing it. Hence, like I said, my favorite story lately is a
The
nun coming
yeah.
in to get some help. One thing we never touched on too is just like how good it is for pets. Um,
What?
oh yeah, like so. I have a German Shepherd. My last German Shepherd, like when he was, dying, basically, I brought him into the vet. They X-rayed him, and the vet's like, I don't know how this dog is walking, and I'm like, I do. And that's something that I can talk about. So if your pet has anxiety with traveling, if fireworks, gunshots, storms, joint, coat, I mean, CBD is amazing for that type of stuff. Um, like I said, just trying to kind of overcome the stigma and just
And the
knowing
misconceptions.
misconceptions and just making sure that you're getting a quality product. If you can't QR code that product from any location, what I mean is like you take your phone, you scan the QR code. If
Yeah.
it does not immediately bring you to a lab report that looks legit, don't trust that product. I mean, there's so
Really?
many bad players out there, and so many, and that's where we get into trouble with legislation and laws and issues with underage stuff, things like that. So
Oh, Yeah, the misconception. We could probably do a whole show just on misconceptions.
Absolutely.
But one thing, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
One thing I have learned here is that that separation between the Delta 9, the Delta 8, the THC driven one, and the cannabis part of it. I didn't realize that. I knew there was a difference, but I didn't really understand it at all. That actually helps me a lot, big time. I did not know, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, unless you are an active user, or if you call it a user of cannabis or the CBD oils or what, I'm not sure what you call that.
Right.
You consume it or you rub it, whatever. If you purchase this stuff,
let's run through those real quick, okay?
Yeah.
So at the very bottom is CBD. Okay,
Yeah.
CBD is going to help with a lot of discomfort,
Yeah.
and like nervousness, stabilization of mood, things like that. CBG is really good for helping you with your sleep patterns. CBN is also really good for helping you with your sleep patterns. THCV helps with, gosh, I can't. Paying attention to stuff. If you catch it, there's an acronym for what I'm trying to say, but I can't say it. Like when you have trouble paying attention or staying focused,
yeah,
THCV is really good for that. Okay. Delta 8 is really, like I said, really good for restfulness and discomfort.
Sure.
Delta 9 is more the fun one, but is also really good for cancer patients for appetite. And then there's, like I said, HHC and THCO, which are more fun ones as well. So
yeah, I want to try a fun one of these days. As soon as it's legal, then you and I are we're gonna try some fun ones.
So there's
maybe not on a live show, but
yeah, I mean our chemists have gotten really good at this too, and so we even actually have legal Delta 9 products in our store. Because they have figured out a way to basically remove certain attributes and shave the shoulders off. So I have a Delta 9 gummy that tests under 0.3 Delta 9 THC. So it is a legal product that is Delta 9 in a legal state.
That's insane.
Right. So, and like I said, with all this going on and everything that I've talked about, any politician that is listening to this right now, cannabis is medicine. Legalize it, regulate it, tax it, get these bad players out of the game or whatever, because banning it is going to do nothing but enhance the black market like it has.
Romaine Quinn is going to be on tomorrow morning. He's running for the Janet Bewley's 25th Senate District. I will bring this up.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see what...
like I will gladly educate any politician, I already do education for law enforcement. If they ask me, I will gladly do anything about that to help push this agenda forward, because it is a miracle plant and it really helps people in a lot of different ways. It's not a one size fits all. Everybody reacts differently. People's bodies metabolize differently. You might need to try a couple different things before it works, but it'll work if you give it the good college try.
Yeah. I'm gonna. I think I'm not just saying this. I think I am gonna go to your store here in Spooner. Well, I go there anyway because that's where I get my cigars. I go through you, of course. I think you're like the only place that even has a walk-in humidor. Oh, by the way, do you like my background today? I did that just for you, buddy.
I appreciate that.
But I am going to learn.
Have a hemp field.
All right.
Stop into Spooner because we actually grow our own hemp right there in the store. You've got a big viewing window that you can.
I saw that. That's legit. You must have like the highest security system on the planet. Because I went in there and I looked. I'm like, holy cow. That is so cool looking. Holy cow. I bet there's a lot of crazies out there that, really want to get their hands on that.
I'm not going to tell you all the different things about getting into my store, but if you want to break into my store, good luck. Good luck getting out enough money before good luck getting out enough product to make it worth it by the time the cops get there. One thing that I wanted to mention to just real quick, you said to put it on there, but CBD, like I talk about anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, because cancer is inflammation, right? So, we've got oils and like our face cream, and oil and stuff like that is going to be very good because CBD really nourishes the skin itself. My wife uses it and her face just glows from it. And
You're just saying that because she's probably watching.
I just saw her comment, but
I
yeah.
know.
So yeah,
Oh,
I mean, it's very healthy in regards. My biggest thing about, and the last thing I'll say is, if you have discomfort in your body, don't just think it's a one size fits all. I mean, you spend how much money on all these pharmaceuticals and stuff like that. CBD is not cheap, but if it works, is it worth it?
right.
So all I'm telling you is give it a 2-month college try. Start on the tincture, get a high dosage of tincture, try it for 2 months, and then hit it. That's hitting it from the inside, and then get some salve for your skin and your discomfort. So you're hitting it from the inside and the
And the
outside.
outside.
And you come back and tell me if it's not working for you, and I'll figure something out. Because either you're not doing it right, or
You're not doing it right. How's being a
and
dad?
that's very important about dosing. No one's going to tell you at a gas station how to take this type of product.
Yeah.
So
There's a question for you.
there's not enough studies out there for me to comment on that,
Okay.
unfortunately. I apologize.
Yeah,
I
right.
wish.
Yep.
Um,
I have one question for you.
yeah.
How's being a dad?
It's good and challenging in its own right. So yes.
How
Yeah.
old now?
14 months.
I was gonna say about a year and a half, so for a
Yeah.
year and 2 months.
14, 15 months. So yeah, McAllen is a godsend. I mean, he is he has my drama and my wife's temper, so we're in for it.
Fantastic. Awesome. Tim, thanks so very much for coming on. No kidding, we should do this sooner than later to have you come back on.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
All right,
I
thanks,
love it.
buddy.
Because we only touched on the brief bit. So thank you very much, Ben. I appreciate you, your program, what your news agency brings to our rural areas and
Thank
stuff
you.
like that. There's nothing else that compares. So
Very
you
nice.
rock.
Very kind of you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so
All right.
much. Special thank you to our guest today, CEO of Ignite Dispensary, Timothy Frey. For DrydenWire.com, I'm Ben Dryden saying thank you for watching. Hope you learned something today and have a blessed day.
Happy Cannabis Day.